Hi everyone and welcome to this video about the UN's actions in peacekeeping. In the past few decades, peacekeeping has been one of the most visible and controversial areas of the UN's work. This is due to several high-profile failures, particularly in Bosnia, Somalia, and Rwanda, that have prompted much soul-searching and analysis. In the early and mid-1990s, the demand for peacekeeping rose dramatically. In 1992, there were several large operations, including Cambodia, Croatia, El Salvador, and Mozambique. Although there were many other conflicts, there was a positive feeling that the UN could help resolve them, partly due to the success of the US-led intervention in the Gulf War. Traditional peacekeeping operations during the Cold War had common criteria. The conflicts were between states and not within states. The peacekeepers went in after the fighting was over and with the consent of all parties. They monitored ceasefires and were unarmed or lightly armed, and neutral in the sense that they were not to interfere. The idea was that peacekeepers could help monitor a truce that would allow diplomats to negotiate peace. After the Cold War, many peacekeeping missions became more complex and multidimensional. These second-generation peacekeeping operations had more objectives and involved civilian experts as well as soldiers. Their missions might include collecting arms, reintegrating former combatants, drafting and helping to implement peace treaties, reforming the police, and monitoring elections. The overarching idea is that these missions are not only maintaining peace and security, but also protecting civilians and human rights and helping the countries restore the rule of law. This change coincided with Boutros-Ghali's landmark report, Agenda for Peace, in 1992, and its 1995 supplement. In Agenda for Peace, Boutros-Ghali admitted that the UN had little power to address the 100 conflicts that had taken place since the UN's birth and resulted in around 20 million deaths. He presented the additional processes of preventative diplomacy, peacemaking, and post-conflict peacebuilding, as well as calling for peace-enforcing units. The most different from traditional peacekeeping are the third-generation operations, or what Boutros-Ghali called peace-enforcing. In these cases, the UN may go in without the consent of all parties. The disputes are intrastate, and the peacekeeping forces use force to implement a peace that not all parties have agreed to. These failed peacekeeping examples of Bosnia, Somalia, and Rwanda were all third-generation peacekeeping. Many analysts argue that they deeply damage the UN's reputation, showing it to be ineffective or worse. In these cases, a key dilemma for the UN has been whether to remain impartial or neutral.